A Victorian preacher named Drummond once complained that bad temper is the vice of the virtuous. I've always thought that was one of the sharpest psychological observations ever made by accident, because it's a law, not a quip. Whoever builds too good a mask for himself pays for it precisely with irritability. Bismarck, the Iron Chancellor, had hysterical weeping fits. The more flawless the public face, the stranger and pettier the private life running behind it. Tonight, I want to explain that mask, why you can't simply take it off, and what it costs you when you forget you're wearing one. I called it the persona, and I chose the word carefully. It originally meant the mask an actor wore to show which role he was playing. Your persona is the complicated system of relations between you and society, a mask designed to do two things at once: to make a definite impression on other people and to conceal your actual nature behind it. Now people hear mask and immediately think fraud, something to be stripped off to reveal the real you. That's too simple, and I want to correct it right away. The persona is not a lie you should abolish. It's a necessity. Society expects, and genuinely must expect, each person to play their assigned part as well as possible. The parson must be a parson flawlessly at all times. The cobbler must be a cobbler. Society treats this as a kind of surety, a guarantee, and it's suspicious of anyone who's two things at once, because a man who's both a cobbler and a poet is odd, different, not quite reliable. To present one clear face to the world is a matter of real practical importance. Nobody could submerge their whole individuality into these expectations, so we build an artificial personality to meet them. That construction isn't a character flaw, it's an unavoidable social fact. But here is the precise thing I want you to understand. The persona is not you, even though it feigns being you. It's actually a segment of the collective psyche wearing your name, a role through which society speaks, mistaken by everyone, including you, for something individual. When you analyze the mask, you find that what looked most personal about it is, at bottom, collective. It's the part of you that belongs to your position, your class, your profession, your era, not to your singular self. So what goes wrong? The trouble begins when a person stops wearing the persona and becomes it. When the mask stops being something you put on and becomes the thing you believe you are. Building a socially suitable persona is a formidable concession to the outside world, a genuine self-sacrifice, and that sacrifice drives the ego straight into identifying with the mask. People really do exist who believe they are what they pretend to be, and you'd think such a person would simply become hollow, soulless. But that's not what happens, because the unconscious will not tolerate having the center of gravity shifted into a mask. It compensates. It insists on the other half. This is Drummond's law again, and it's exact. Whoever builds too good a persona has to pay for it, and the bill comes due in his private life. The flawless public man has the tantrums at home. The saintly reputation is financed by irritability behind the door. Bismarck's weeping fits, all the strange, petty, hidden compensations of great and disciplined public men. These aren't hypocrisy in the ordinary sense. They're the psyche balancing its own books. Everything the mask is too polished to contain gets shoved into the private life and comes out sideways. And the better the mask, the uglier the leak. Notice how this connects to the shadow from the last video. The persona and the shadow are two halves of the same operation. The persona is everything you show. The shadow is everything you hid in order to show it. Every trait you excluded from your public face didn't evaporate. It went into the dark to become shadow. Build a mask of pure competence, and incompetence goes underground. Build a mask of pure kindness, and your cruelty goes underground. The more perfect the persona, the denser the shadow it necessarily casts. You have a persona right now, several probably, and you're identified with at least one of them more than you know. The professional self, the online self, the self you are for your parents, the competent one, the easygoing one, the reasonable one. None of these are wrong to have. The danger is specific, and it's the same danger I've named in different costumes across this whole channel. Mistaking a collective thing for your individual self. The persona is, quite literally, a piece of the collective psyche. To identify with it completely is to hand your individuality over to a role and let society do your living for you, which is exactly the self-alienation I described back in the individuation video. The man who has become his persona is blind to the existence of anything in himself beyond it, and he cannot understand why, with such an excellent life, he feels so strangely absent from it. And there's a social cost, not just a private one. A society that rewards only flawless personas is manufacturing shadow at scale, teaching millions of people to perfect a mask and bury everything that doesn't fit. That buried material doesn't disappear from the world. It pools. And a population full of well-masked people carrying dense, unexamined shadows is, once again, exactly the fuel a mass movement runs on. The tidy public face and the eruption underneath are the same phenomenon I opened this channel describing, just wearing a suit. So what do you actually do, given that you can't and shouldn't throw the mask away? The goal is not to destroy the persona. A person with no persona at all is as unfree as a person who's become one, tactless, exposed, unable to function in the ordinary world. The goal is to know it's a mask, to be able to take it off and put it on deliberately, rather than having it fused to your face. Start by locating where you're most identified. Ask which role, if it were taken from you tomorrow, your title, your reputation, your competence, would leave you feeling like no one at all. That panic is the measure of your fusion. The self that would evaporate along with the job was never yourself. It was the mask. Then read your own leaks. Drummond's law is a diagnostic tool. Where does your irritability erupt? What comes out sideways in your private life? The sarcasm, the coldness, the pettiness the public version of you would never permit. That leak is a precise map of what your persona is too polished to hold, which means it's a map straight into your shadow. The tantrum is pointing at the buried thing. And then the actual work, which is the same work every time, to develop a real relationship with everything the mask left out so that it stops leaking and starts becoming part of a whole person. Not to become less competent, less kind, less professional. To become large enough that those qualities are things you genuinely have, rather than a costume you can never afford to remove. The mask isn't the problem. Everyone wears one, and should. The problem is forgetting it's a mask, and paying for the forgetting with a private life full of leaks you don't understand. Bad temper is the vice of the virtuous. Now you know why. The question that's left is the one this whole channel keeps circling. Who exactly is behind yours, and when did you last take it off on purpose? If you liked this video, share, like, and subscribe. If you are interested in learning more about Carl Jung's teachings and take the evaluation that will help you understand more about yourself, go to selfindividuation.com.